first, it starts off like it's like a stream offline kind of music, right? Like bumper music, and then it gets into like a club banger.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in between matches.
Yeah.
You just got the G2 match. Game 2's coming up.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of the E-League bumper music, like.
Yeah. All right. I can't let you talk about this music any longer. In good conscience, you are.
If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, this is theScore eSports podcast. I am your host, Colin McNeil. We've got Josh Burry with us.
Hello.
And Dennis Gonzalez.
How's it going?
More importantly, guys, we have a sick guest for you today. In just a few minutes, Mohamad Assad, a.k.a. Mo, CSGO streamer extraordinaire, is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about all kinds of fun stuff. I'm not going to spoil it now. I don't want to give him a chance to think, you know?
Yeah, you gotta keep guests on their toes. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. How was your weekend, guys?
Mine was good. I did a bit of fishing. I haven't done it in a while.
You did a fishing.
I did a fishing.
Okay,
I didn't catch a fish.
Okay.
It was kind of frustrating on my line, tangled a few times, but it was good overall.
What were you using to fish? Like what you're using? Lures, bait? Like what's the deal?
Lures.
Lures?
Yeah.
What kind of lure?
Just honestly, like whatever was at Walmart. We got our.
You got like a Rapala minnow?
No, actually, I was looking for some Rapalas, but like they didn't have any there.
That sucks.
Yeah,
that
sucks. Dennis, the outdoorsman.
I like fishing a lot, actually. So
I haven't been fishing since I was a little kid. I beat Dark Souls 3 on the weekend.
Nice.
That was hype. Immediately downloaded the DLC. I watched DSL, obviously. That was pretty hype. Speaking of.
Yeah.
My cat got sick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That sucks.
Sorry.
Wait, your real cat or your digital
one of my
eSports cat?
What?
I don't know. Like your WoW cat.
No. Anyways, I think we got some viewers that really want to see Mo as opposed to hear us talk about fishing and or cat illness.
Or Dark Souls 3.
So why don't I make that happen? We're just going to introduce our guest.
Awesome. Mo, welcome to the theScore eSports podcast, man.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
It's a pleasure to have you.
I could see myself on your on the stream on the monitor.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's like
It looked awkward.
that's like some Inception shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. How you guys doing?
Oh man, we're doing good. We're excited to have you on today. Thank you for making time. I know you were actually just streaming before this, right?
Yeah, I just was, and it was a nice launch stream. I just came back to streaming about yesterday, so it's been 2 days so far, so I'm a little rusty with it.
Oh yeah. Now I was going to talk a little bit with these guys about ESL before we get into all the so-called tough questions. I want to get your thoughts on that over the weekend. How's that?
How about what?
About ESL finals.
Oh, that was crazy, man. I tweeted about this. I'm really happy to see teams talking shit to each other finally, because it got really boring to the point where it's like there was really no drama, you see the same teams playing every weekend. It's like it gets a little boring, you know what I mean? Same old stuff, but you actually seeing teams really want to win and beat each other, that was fun to watch.
Yo, did you see Config break his monitor in a fit of rage?
Yeah. That reminds me of me. I do that every day, but that was awesome to see, just the passion of it. And I mean, it sucks for him what happened, you know, but I think he disconnected a cord just by slamming the desk, which I know has happened to all of us before.
Yeah, frustrating situation for him and for North, no doubt. So Mo, moving from ESL finals, one of the things you do on your stream that I really like is you do fantasy gambling. At least I think it's fantasy, right?
Yeah, I don't do it. I do it on my YouTube. Yeah, but it's fantasy. This was popular, I think, about a year and a half ago, and then the sites kind of all died out about the fantasy sites, and then now there's one site doing it again, and maybe more. I don't know, but it's exciting because that gives you time. It's like fantasy. I mean, I've been playing fantasy basketball for the past like 5 years, man. I love fantasy. Period. You know what I mean? Sports, and it's fun to watch it. It gives you more reasons to watch and enjoy the matches on a individual basis. You know?
Yeah, and I know you were doing that with ESL for some matches. So going with that,
I didn't do too hot.
No.
Oh, you didn't make any money?
No, it was weird, man. But I think the tournament might have like not went on because I got refunded the money, so I don't know what happened there. But I tried another one, and I definitely did not place in the top like 50. I think I picked the wrong players.
Now you also like you do a thing where you bet like sums of money, like I'm assuming they're fantasy sums of money on teams, right? Like I saw a stream where you were like, oh, I'm gonna have $500 on this team or that team.
Oh, that's not fantasy. That's just what happens with these sites is I get affiliate money based on people that go in and use it, right? So that affiliate money I could pull out in form of skins if I wanted to, or I could just use it to bet on teams and kind of build a balance.
Yo, so is that real money?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's real skins. So whether I decide to use the skins to sell for real money on a third-party site, I could. Or what I usually do with all the skins that I have is I just put them up for giveaways on my streams, and I've been doing more YouTube and other stuff lately.
Oh, okay. Because I saw some videos where you were betting some pretty large sums, and I'm going like, oh, it's fantasy betting. Like this can't be real money.
The ones on teams is definitely real money. It's I don't go higher than I think the limit's $500 on a bet, but you could win a lot if you hit like certain combined bets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, going off the betting tip, I was actually going to see if I could squeeze a couple like bets, couple predictions out of you for some events in the near future. Say the ELEAGUE Clash for Cash.
The one with Astralis versus VP.
Yeah.
I think it's not even worth the bet because I think the odds will be so skewed for Astralis nowadays. But the fact that they would I would just take a Hail Mary bet on Virtus.pro because you can never count them out. And I think if the odds are like at least 2-1, I would bet on Virtus.pro. I'd bet big because that's where they're known for LAN. Like, I mean, their online performances have been kind of crappy lately, even some LAN, but they're a team that will always be a top team no matter what.
What about the match score? Or sorry, the map score?
The what?
What would you bet on if you had to bet on the map score? You know, like 2-1 VP, 2-1.
It's the best of 3, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I would. It'd have to be a 2-1, man. To me, even though Astralis is so good right now, and Virtus.pro has been playing so bad, I can't see them getting 2-0'd. But who knows?
Yo,
but I'd go for the 2-1.
Yeah, I actually think I agree with you on that. Speaking of ELEAGUE, you did some analysis stuff with them a while back.
Season 1.
Yeah.
First 3 weeks, yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, do you ever want to do that again? Or like, are we going to see you on the desk?
I haven't been reached out to do it again. That's for sure. But if I did, I would do it again. It was one of the most fun times I ever had. The only thing about it is when I did it, I was meant to do it for 1 week, and then it just went on for 2 more because Thorin was having visa issues. But when they fixed that out, they already had the ELEAGUE analysis, like cast ready. Everyone was already set in stone. It just I was kind of an emergency stand-in for him until they got it stored away. But if they ever need extra help, it was a great time for me, and I doubt they would because they're kind of set in their ways. But I would honestly say ELEAGUE is probably the best RAN tournament. And not that I've been to other ones, not as a player, just as a viewer and seen. And ELEAGUE definitely, you felt like another level of professionalism.
Yeah, you mentioned before that you actually didn't get reached out to for more casting gigs. I'm actually kind of surprised at that.
For casting gigs, I did get reached out to for different casting gigs, just not ELEAGUE again.
I see.
But when you're a streamer like you, I have certain obligations as a streamer and a YouTuber and other things. So anything that takes away from that, you got to weigh the options and see, is it worth your time to go do this? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. You know what I mean?
Well, you raise an interesting point there, because one of the things I wanted to ask you, Mo, was about the lucrativeness of streaming, right? Like we're seeing a lot of players making really good bank sitting at home, and not playing pro. Is it like CSGO right now? If you're good enough, is it more lucrative to do the streaming thing than to play on a team?
Well, here's the thing. If you're good enough right now to be on a pro team, you kind of want to join a pro team first to launch your streaming career, because it's so hard to just be a random person and start streaming and getting viewers. But if you're a random person that a pro team picked up, then you're going to attract people that are curious. They're like, wait, why did this team pick him up? Then they're going to watch you. So it's kind of hard to just start right into streaming unless you have some sort of like luck. You know what I mean? It's 100% luck, actually, because that's how it happened with me. And Summit will tell you the same thing. And any top streamer, I'm not even considered really a top streamer anymore because I divide my time between other platforms. But any top streamer would tell you that they were just at the right place at the right time early on. That's really it.
Now, like, speaking of that, we see Shroud, for example, like, he's talking on his stream about maybe retiring. Like, the dates are sort of like, I don't know, who knows when,
he
right?
He said 2018.
He said 2018?
He's like set on 2018.
Oh, shit.
At least at that time of the stream.
Yeah. But then he went back and said something like, oh, well, it might be 2 years, it might be 2 months, or something like that. Okay. So here's my thoughts on Shroud, and I've been asked this a couple times recently. I would say that he obviously, people got to understand that he can make a lot more money if he was just a streamer, because he has that kind of following. He has the Summit number. He has, like, 20, he could get up to like 15, 20,000 people watching him play any random game. That's the kind of person Shroud is, right? So if he was to go branch out on his own and just, acquire sponsors by himself, he'd be set. He'd be making a lot more money than if he was on Cloud9 and if he won all the majors every year, pretty much. Like, that's the kind of money that's the kind of money he's probably will be making with those numbers if he had the right, agent representing him and, getting him the right deals. With that being said, that if he feels like he wants to do, I know Shroud doesn't seem like the kind of guy that does it for the money anyway. So I think he wants to be comfortable, but I don't think money is really making his decision for him. I think it's passion for the game, and I think he kind of just lost a little bit of passion, because it gets really hard being in the spotlight for so long. When you're good, everyone loves you. When you're bad, everyone hates you, and it's just back. It's like that forever. You know what I mean? So people just lose passion for the game when that's how it is.
Well, you have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the players in NA, and I'm assuming with Shroud as well. Has he spoken to you about that topic of maybe becoming a streamer? Because I know that you're kind of an authority on that matter.
He hasn't personally reached out to me about wanting to leave. Teammates of his might have mentioned stuff about the feeling of changes happening, but it was never pointed at, oh, we're going to replace this player. But I think there's a common feel amongst the whole team that a change is happening, and it will happen soon.
And that, wow, okay. So, like, that kind of leads me to another thing I've been thinking of lately, which is like, okay, NA CSGO, right? Like, the talent pool there, like, obviously, they're not to the level of an EU. And if we're in a situation where streaming is, like you say, making them so much more money, so much more lucrative, not every player is going to have that passion that you mentioned to want to stay competitive. It's going to pull people away. Like, is it a negative pull on the pro scene?
Well, there's a lot of players that don't really care about, and you see it right now. Like, every pro player, when you see them kind of streaming, it's just kind of like, oh, I'm streaming for because my organization is making me stream. They're required to stream a certain amount of hours for their sponsors. It's so blatant. You see it everywhere. People like Shroud, he does it because he genuinely loves to stream. So streaming isn't easy. It's not for everyone. You have to really enjoy streaming to do it. Even if the money is good, when people like Get Right scream, they get 15,000 viewers every time they stream, but they hardly ever stream because they don't enjoy it as much. Do you understand? So it could be kind of a negative, but I think most of the pros are in it for the competitive nature. They're not in it for they're not really thinking about the future on what am I going to do after competition. I think most pros are legitimately there to try to win and be the best team. And there's very little amount that are thinking, what's my next move? How am I going to make more money? This isn't enough, blah, blah, blah. And to talk about the talent pool, I personally think that the NA talent pool is right up there in terms of pure skill with all the Euros and the Brazilians and everyone. I think the only thing holding them back is really just that extra thing of teamwork, the chemistry, the teamwork that we just don't seem to have. And anytime we get close to having that, something gets ruined. The latest would be Optic with Stanislaw leaving them. That was like a team when I was watching them, I said, oh my God, they're playing like a really well European, like they were doing on the fly calls. They were making the right plays every time. They were doing aggressive when they had to be, and very passive the very next round. It was just like watching like old Fnatic play. They were just so good, and they tore up everybody for three events. They were like one of the best teams in the world, and then boom, some guy leaves, and it ruins everything for them.
Yeah. Going off of that topic, yeah, a lot of NA teams are very contingent on the leadership role. I was talking to a bit with Cloud9 Valens, their coach, about that. He's one of the more well-known coaches in the scene. What are your thoughts on the leadership in NA? Like, do you feel that there's enough? Do you feel that, like, even the way that Rank S or the way that Face It is run, do you think leaders are being formed? Like, do you think they're being encouraged to grow?
Are we fostering leaders?
We're not. It's definitely leaders are and like leadership is the biggest thing that NA is lacking, and I think it's because in North America we're breeding aimers and all-stars rather than leaders. We're breeding people that have to get noticed. They have to be insane, like Stewie 2K or Twist or Sick. They have to be players that are just above and beyond aim-wise and skill-wise. And then we're like, oh, that guy's gonna get picked up, but no one looks at the leader that got them there. And that's why, because realistically speaking, no leader that's really, really good will ever be as skilled as the best player on the team. I mean, Fallen is like one of those crazy leaders who's a top level. Glaive is another guy that does it. But other than, you know, the iBuyPower guys like Daze and Steel, they were the only real leaders that actually could hang with everyone on the team skill-wise. So looking at them, even Sean, I would say Sean lacks a little bit in the terms of the skill way, but he makes up for it with his leadership. But even Sean is starting to look like he doesn't really want to play it anymore. You know what I mean?
Are you saying that from an outside perspective, or is this in conversation?
I just know as much as I know from when we talked when he was on Echo Fox, and I think that Sean is the kind of player that he's getting to a point where he has a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things, and I don't think having a 8-hour practice session every day is something he wants to do. But this is from my speculation. He hasn't told me anything. I'm just speculating that this is what's happening.
For sure.
So, Mo, are there any ways that you think NA can try to build those leaders? Like, what needs to change for us to see more of these in-game leaders who can really help create and then maintain these NA rosters and ultimately take the fight to EU a little bit?
Honestly, I think one way to help would be some of the EU leaders coming to NA and helping out NA a little bit. Just in terms of getting everyone to think as a team more than as an individual. The other thing, it's going to be hard because we all play ESCA and we all play Face It and maybe sometimes CEVO if it's still around, but we play for skill, like to get the most kills. You never see a player in a ESCA punch saying, all right, I got all the smokes and flashes we need, like no one,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not building team players with these kinds of things, and matchmaking is just as bad. In matchmaking, you just get matched up with the worst of the worst, and that's even a step below ESCA and all that, because it's just it's cancerous, and it's really hard. I don't know how to really think of what we could do to make leaders happen, and I'm open to ideas if people actually have ideas on how to show leaders, because back in the day when I played, leaders were like a lot more. You could find leaders everywhere. Everyone wanted to call. Everyone wanted the pressure of being the captain of the team. Nowadays, everyone shies away from it.
Yeah, and to that token, this is maybe a bit of a theory of mine, but with the rise of streaming and with the rise of like Rank S and Face It, it almost feels like the more casual aspects, ergo the streaming side of the Rank S and Face It is kind of taking over. Like, people aren't playing to improve, they're playing for their stream, and like the way that they're getting the most viewers is playing on Rank S and Face It. Do you feel that that's maybe some truth to that? Like, do you think that there's any even value for practicing on Rank S or Face It?
There's 100% truth to that, because I know of teams that have complained that their players are just rushing through practice and not caring, and sometimes skipping practice and saying, you know what, we'll just do it tomorrow, and then jumping right into Rank S to play for, not necessarily for the money. I mean, a lot of players do play for the money because, salaries are great. I think salaries they're at an all-time high for players, right? But then who's going to say no to an extra $5,000 a month? Everyone wouldn't mind that. So a lot of these players really do play for the money, would rather just to play Rank S instead of with their team, because team practice, guys, it's not that fun. You guys got to understand, it's very repetitive. team practice takes a lot of focus. And if you're a team that's not winning and not on top of your game, team practice is going to be the worst, because what's going to happen is you're going to sit into a server 3-4 hours going over stuff. Then you're going to scrim and lose 3-4 games in a row, and you're going to hate the game. So sometimes I understand that these players don't want to play, but this is what it takes to be a top team. You have to commit to playing over anything else. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Okay, so
with your team, not just playing ranked tests. But I also don't like when players only show up for practice and then leave and never play any CS, because I feel like they could be doing a lot more on their own to individually improve themselves.
Okay, okay. But to that end, do you feel that Rankcast, or Face It, do you feel that does improve individuality? Like, or individual skill?
That's about the only thing I think it improves, because here's the thing. You got to look at it this way. In Rankcast, you're playing against pros all day long, right? If you're able to do well against pros, that means individually you're up there. You have good aim, you have good game sense. I mean, obviously in Rankcast there's going to be stuff happening that just very casual and that would never happen in a match. But for the most part, you're playing against top tier aimers, and they could come at you and they could kill you in any second. So if you're able to dominate in Rankcast, you are a good player, and you have everything you need to be a top player. The only problem is your team play. How do you play on a team? Because if you're just an insane player that thinks you could go 1v5, SK, you're going to be the first kill every round, and they're going to have a 5v4 advantage against your team every time, because that's how it is against top teams. You'll never be able to just run out and out-aim top teams consistently, that is. Sometimes I see Nico do it, but consistently you won't be able to do it.
Yeah, we can't all be Nico.
Yeah.
Now, Mo, recently the vice president of pro gaming at ESL tweeted out that they might be considering, I don't know, rescinding or shortening or getting rid of some of the bans for players that players have received for cheating. Not for match fixing specifically, but for cheating and for toxicity, I suppose. How do you feel about that?
I'm happy about that, honestly. Like, I want the ban to be lifted. And if it takes ESL stepping in and saying, hey, we're going to allow them to play in the league. Okay, so what? They can't play majors. So what? There's so many tournaments happening now that you don't even need to go to the majors. And then teams can simply have a major team and a team with some of these iBuyPower guys, because they're valuable. These guys, given the right team around them, all of them could be huge impact on any team. Swag, AZK Steel, and Dazed. All four of these guys can impact a team only positively if they would get on any team, either together or individually.
I guess it's like, if you're a team owner, are you looking to maybe like pay double the salary to get those two teams? Like, is it a situation where you're like, oh, I only give a shit about the major?
No, it's definitely worth it to buy those two teams and put some money in, because you're still getting, okay, look at it this way, Dazed and Steel, they're streamers too, so and Swag is very popular. So right there and then you have a brand, you know what I mean? You're buying into a brand. Your band team might be more popular than your main team, you know what I mean? It might get to that point. So you might be able to make more money off the band players than you are, but you got to understand that they're going to cost a lot more than the average team, because they are aware of their stream, and both, some of these guys are committed to their stream very highly, so it would take a lot of money to get them to leave.
True.
Not leave, but it would get them a lot of money to kind of sign up with you and kind of say no to other sponsors, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. We actually saw kind of a similar thing just happen in League of Legends, where Echo Fox actually, you know about that, signed a friggin' team of streamers. So
that was a surprise to me, because I used to be the GM of Echo Fox CSGO, but when they made the decision not to follow CSGO, I became more of just like a streamer for Echo Fox. Unofficially so far, until we make it official. So it's just been, I have a great relationship with the CEO, Jace, but I don't have any, they don't talk to me about any sort of moves they're making for anything. So I was as surprised as anyone else, but I think it's a cool thing, because those players, I don't know how good they are right now in League of Legends. I know they were all legends at one point, but if they just they have the fan base, so they're already winning, I think, just by having a team like that.
Do you think that in the near future we are going to see, like you said, like an org pick up, some of the iBuyPower guys or anyone else who might have been banned and then the ban gets rescinded?
Oh, hell, as soon as ESL, I think, announces anything, I think everyone... Well, look at it this way. Swag is still contracted to Cloud9. Yeah. So if anything happens there, Cloud9 might make the decision to just skip majors altogether and just go to every other tournament that's not a major and win all those. Not necessarily, they're not going to win all those. I don't predict them to be a super team overnight, but definitely be very competitive at all those. They might just do that, or they might, Steel and Days might decide to team up and make their own organization with AZK and bring down some players. Who knows what would happen, but as soon as they're allowed to compete again in anything, a lot of people are going to go after them.
Man, that would be hype. I do hope that actually happens. That'd be so sick.
That'd be kind of sick, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch, honestly.
A few minutes back, you mentioned dividing your time between different platforms. Obviously, ESL Finals was streamed on YouTube. We all had to watch it on YouTube unless you wanted to watch it in a foreign language. There were some comments about that, some complaints, maybe a few technical difficulties. I don't know how much that's down to ESL or down to YouTube. What's your thoughts on YouTube gaming?
I think it's more down to ESL than YouTube, realistically, because YouTube already has all the resources to stream on. Like I've streamed on YouTube a bunch of times, and I've never had problem with their stream. Now, is the platform for chatting not as good? Yeah, it's more fun to chat on Twitch for sure, but it's still there. If anything, sometimes the Twitch chat gets a little too spammy for me, and on YouTube it's there, but it's not as bad to me, at least. You know what I mean? And I feel like on YouTube, the quality is still there and equal or better sometimes. And I know on YouTube allows you to stream at a higher bitrate. So that's what I like about YouTube as well. And I'm a big fan of being on multiple platforms. I don't think you should ever rely on one platform for everything. That's why I even do Facebook Live. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you want to be able to spread your brand across everything, because platforms come and go all the time, man. You want your brand to be strong on as many platforms as you can so it stands. So I have no problem with YouTube buying, these lead time. Like I know Raincast did something with Facebook, right? You guys heard about that one too, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that, because realistically, man, Twitch really doesn't do much to maintain. I think they're happy at where they are. And they don't do anything. Like if you come to Twitch and say, well, hey, YouTube's offering me this, can you guys do anything? They're going to say no. And I don't agree with that at all. I think Twitch shouldn't be so comfortable in the position they're at. And I've always said this about Twitch, that they just don't care enough about the people making content on their, because you see it everywhere. YouTube is over here now. Facebook Live. I wouldn't be surprised if next YouTube starts signing some big streamers to them.
Like exclusivity.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Well, here's the thing. YouTube and Facebook Live never say. Well, I don't want to say this for never, but for the most part, I know YouTube doesn't care about exclusive. They just want you certain hours. They say, hey, you got to stream certain hours on our platform if they've signed you to a deal, right? But they don't say that you don't. You only have to play on ours. Twitch is opposite. Twitch is exclusive, and if you do any gaming content outside of Twitch, you're banned from Twitch. So me, I do non-gaming content on YouTube, but it sucks for me, because then I have to stop my gaming stream, get on, and then let's say I want to do some skin gambling. I have to do that on YouTube, because skin gambling isn't allowed on Twitch. So I don't like that I have to go between everything anytime I want to do something, and I don't like that I can't just stream on all the platforms at the same time, which you can using Restream. You guys probably heard of Restream, right? You probably have used it before.
Currently using it, actually.
Yeah, so you're on it right now. So I think Restream is a great thing. I think you want to build all your social platforms. So why is Twitch making it that no matter what, you have to be exclusive to us or you're banned? I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I gotta say, I just was gonna jump in there, and I agree with Mo. Like, getting complacent in this kind of landscape, like, dude, a year from now, things could be flipped, right? Yeah, it seems insane.
You can already see the big names starting to draw battle lines, right? Like Mo was saying, like YouTube's in here, Facebook's in here.
When Facebook makes a play, like, shit, you have to take that seriously.
I agree.
I
agree.
I mean, look at it this way. We're dealing with billions and billions of dollars in backing of these companies. You got Amazon with Twitch, you got Doodle and Facebook, or Doodle and YouTube, or I don't even know who's who anymore. They all have so much money. So yeah, any one of them can come and buy out anyone they want. Like Lyric Summit, they could be bought out tomorrow by Facebook Live if Facebook Live wanted them. Like if they come and say, hey, we'll give you $10 million a year to be Facebook only, no one's gonna say no to that. You know what I mean? They'll lose money to make sure Twitch loses viewers. So
yeah,
Twitch needs to step it up a little bit.
So do you think like so ESL did it? Do you think in the future we're going to see more and more like specifically CS:GO on YouTube gaming?
Oh, of course. I think you're going to see Facebook Live try to get in there. They already did it with Rank S, and now they're probably going to try to make a bid for ESL Pro League season, whatever next season is. I think then Twitch is going to come in here and start making bids against them too, because these leads are just going to go to whoever pays them the most, right? Like they're just as simple as that. You pay them the most, they're going to go to you.
Yeah, absolutely. This might be getting into a little bit of inside ball here, guys, but I was always told that Facebook sort of is not good for the content creator. Like they're not good for them profit wise. Do you know anything about that, Mo? Like, do you?
Yeah, you don't make any money on Facebook. Okay. But here's what Facebook is starting to do now. They're starting to actually pay people to go on to make content until they put ads on their content. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what Facebook Live is doing nowadays. They're going out and trying to find influencers that will do that's part of the reason I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live podcast which will be Twitch and Facebook Live, because there's no exclusivity. They just want some content on Facebook, you know. So they go out and they say, hey, we'll pay you to do this, and when you are able to get ad revenue from our thing, then you move on to that, and there's no more like guaranteed payment, you know what I mean? You just make it from the ad revenue, which is cool. At least they're doing something, unlike Twitch has ever done. I don't know how YouTube works, but I assume YouTube is the same way. They offer you money to start. They don't just tell you, hey, switch over here, you'll make more.
Right. You just mentioned you were going to start a podcast and broadcast on Facebook Live. When's that going down?
It's still in the works, man. I might need your guys' help on how to set it up, because I want to do something kind of gaming, but not all 100% gaming related. But I do want to talk about kind of what you guys are doing, but just a laid back thing that we could talk about anything. It doesn't have to be. I'm not contracted to talk about gaming. I'm not about anything. It's just whatever I want to do, I can do.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. There's a lot of cool stories out there, Mo. So I think that's a sweet approach. Obviously, that's what we use. But it's really cool to be able to just get a guest in. There's stuff you want to talk about. There's often stuff you talk about that you didn't plan to talk about, and sometimes that's the best stuff, honestly. So
I feel like, and I also feel like podcasts are shifting back up to like where they're really fucking popular again. And I'm sorry if I cussed.
No, we're laid back on that too, Mo.
But I think having a really good podcast, like I watch podcasts all the time, man. I'm listening to Joe Rogan all the time. Other YouTubers that I like have their own podcast that I sit there and I'll listen to an hour and a half of it, no problem, man. And I think this style of, especially for the gaming and for me, CS:GO personally, like you want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Sometimes you want to get some insight on stuff, and it's great to have somewhere to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We touched a little bit on skin gambling. I kind of wanted to go into that a little deeper. There was like a big scandal that erupted. I don't know, what was it, a year ago, guys? Like less than a year, probably.
The T Martin thing.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
Did about a year ago.
Yeah. And around that time, a lot of people were saying that it was going to hurt. It was going to hurt viewership. It was going to hurt fandom, because fans were like all into that, betting skins on matches and stuff. On the pro level, I suppose it didn't turn out that way. Do you think that it had any effect on like tier 2 CS:GO events?
I think it did hurt the viewership even now, but that not as much as the fact that you have so many tournaments happening. I think that hurts viewership more than anything. Is having the same tournament happen next week. Right. You know what I mean? Every weekend you're like watching the same teams duke it out, and it's every weekend it's a different winner. It's boring. It's like watching the NBA finals all year around. You're never gonna care about who wins anymore. So that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is, there has to be some sort of regulation on these gambling sites. Because yes, they're still around, man. Now they're maybe match gambling is a little bit less common. I mean, you guys have seen me bet on that, but those are sites that are less common now. The more common ones are the ones that were there last year, which is just casino style games for skin gambling. It needs to be regulated. but I don't think it will ever go away because there's just too much demand for it. If there wasn't enough demand, there wouldn't be any. And if they weren't making money, they wouldn't be up.
You touched on something just now that we have talked a lot about on this podcast. Actually, not lately, but a lot before, which was like oversaturation of events in CS:GO. So it sounds like you think there's just way too much going on.
There's too much going on and not enough and I whine about this and I rant about this all the time. So if any of my viewers are watching right now, they're gonna hate me because I always talk about this. But it's just like there's no real chance for a brand new team with no money to come in and compete and try to surprise everyone like before. Like Navi, when Navi first came out in 1.6, they came in and they were just a bunch of no-name kids and they beat everybody. And that's when they put their name on the board and they become, now they're legend. It's a legendary organization. Why can't 5 friends who have $100 between them work their way to a LAN with their own money, pay their way in, do an open LAN entry, go in and play against an SK? Okay, you might lose, whatever. You get a chance to play against your idols, right? It's a win-win for everyone. You should be able to just go to a tournament and compete if you can afford to go. And no organizers doing this anymore. Everyone's doing the same bullshit where, hey, 16 of teams. I could name all 16 teams that will be invited. It's no surprise. There's no surprise anymore. You know every team that's going to be there. Yes, they deserve to be there. Of course, they're the best teams in the world. But have 128 teams duke it out like you used to, because that's when it's fun.
But it feels
that's when like top teams could randomly lose to a team and everyone goes, oh my god, what the hell happened there? What's going on? That's fun to watch.
It kind of feels, Mo, like as esports, all different kinds of esports, like I would say also League of Legends sort of follows this pattern as well as CSGO. As they've developed and there's been more money involved in them, we've seen that sort of the dream, in a sense, sort of disappear, right? Like the idea that 5 guys just get together, make a team, we go to a LAN, holy crap, we beat this team, we're a lot better than we thought, and it like shocks everybody. It feels like the more money there is in the scene, the bigger the organizations get, the more popular the players get, we just see less and less of that. And eventually, like it's like in League of Legends, it's going to be gone, right? Like they're taking away the Challenger series in North America, for example. So the idea of putting together a team and somehow making it to the Pro League with your boys is like not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's such to think that, because it's like, how's new talent supposed to be found now? Is it like, oh, I have to be the most dominant player in rank S and work my way through these really hard ways to get up there and then be so dominant that a team gives me a shot? Why can't me and my team that I built go all the way up to top together and beat these teams? It's impossible now. And I understand, like, you can't just make 5 players that play basketball and join the NBA, right?
Right.
But at least the development leads is a way in for other people. So I wouldn't mind that they have an actual set development lead where it's not impossible to get into. It's open tryouts for anyone, because that's how it is in the NBA or any other sport. You have open tryouts and you go in, you walk on, and if you're good enough, you can move up. But this way, there's literally no way to get in, even in tier 2. You have no way in. You have to hope that a big organization picks you up as an academy team, which I don't even know what that means, you know?
Yeah.
And now they're saying academy teams can't even come.
Yeah.
Now they're saying you can't have both teams playing in the same tournament. What the hell's the point of all this?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point that you made about academy teams too, because we've seen, like, in esports generally, these teams, you know, they come in, and then there's this rule against them competing or whatever. So it's like you said, what's the point? You're just scrimming against them? What's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the point is money. I think the point is these orgs are going to try to snatch up anyone for cheap right now and then sell them for more expensive when this team is considered pro level. You know what I mean?
How?
It's all
like.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, is there a way for CS:GO to achieve this sort of like more structured state where there's like a farm team and stuff? Because right now it's like you have all these different governing bodies, right? You got ESL and ELEAGUE and PGL and whatever, and they're all competing and they're all holding 10 billion events.
In CS:GO, there's no way, simply because Valve won't do it. Because the only entity that could do it is Valve. Valve has to step in and say, we're gonna run the league. Here's the pro league. Here's the challenger league, like Riot did for LCS. That's the only way to do it that way. You could do it another way which would be just do the big open tournament for every. Faceit could do one, ESL could do one, and DreamHack can do one, PGL can do one, where once a year each one of them does a huge 128 team tournament. And if you're a new team and you get in there, you get invited to their pro league. If you get in the top, 5 or something, whatever, they could make any rules. But that's a way that new teams can actually go in and compete. And if they're look good enough or they're lucky enough, they could win against some pro teams and make it to a level where they get invited into the pro league of that league, something like that, to help out the rest of us.
But it sounds like you don't have a ton of faith in Valve to actually go ahead and do that.
Oh no, I don't. I think someone said a long time ago that Valve already decided that they're doing a Dota style and a CS:GO style, and they're doing both these trials, and that's why they do like the international for Dota and the majors for us. They do it differently. So they're messing around with different strategies, but I don't think they're going to commit to anything for CSGO. Maybe for the next iteration of CS, they will, Maybe they'll go ahead and decide, you know what, now it's time for us to make our own league, which would be very good for Valve to do, I think. But the reason I say this is because and this was back in CS Source, so it doesn't apply to CSGO at all. But the way I got my start on a pro team was because I got to go on my own dime to a tournament. I placed 16th to 18th with a very bad team, but because of my individual skill, I was able to get picked up by the team that placed second at the entire CPL, and they picked me up. And then 3 weeks later, we competed in another tournament and beat the #1 team in the world, and that's when my pro career was born back then in Source. So I know how important it is for someone to have a shot, because I literally I went with the last 5. I had to borrow like $500 from my dad. I had 500 of my own. I borrowed 500 from my father to make my way to the LAN in Texas to play. So that to me shows that I dedicated everything I had to that moment, and it paid off for me that I got to join a team and all that. But it's sad to think no other person can have that feeling that I had now, because it's impossible.
Wow. So if you were the same age as you were then now, like you're not a pro. You're not gonna play CS:GO. Is that the case?
Oh no. If I was in the same age and I was as good as I am, I think I'd be on a team regardless. Like
okay.
I would find a way to be on a pro team because of the way just how good I was at CS Source. And if I had the same skill I did then, I think I would be, assuming everyone else was where they are now too, back then, I would be a pro then or now.
Right.
But I'm saying I would, if I didn't have a way, like if I wasn't sure of my skill yet, I wouldn't know where to go to kind of show it off. You know what I mean? What, you're going to go to local lands? Local lands don't matter. Local lands back in the day used to matter. Pro teams used to go to local lands and watch other players play. You would get picked up by your local team, by the best West Coast team if you go to a West Coast LAN and you do really well. That back then that happened.
So what do you do now? Just play rank S, try and get a lot of sick kills, like you said. Like, what's the system now?
Dude, now it's you don't even get you have to kill yourself to get to rank S first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once you're in rank S, you have to dominate everybody, but at the same time, be super cool to talk to so people don't think you're a dick and all this shit. So it's politics, man. It's all politics, right? Yeah. You have to be like the perfect team player in rank S, but you can't be you can't talk back to certain people that are like I would never say talk back to people that are better than you in terms of experience. You should always listen to anyone. Even to this day, I'll listen to people that try to tell me stuff, and even believe it or not, pros will listen to some advice I have to give them. Some pros know, some pros do. So the ones that do actually tend to be better players overall. So that's good. That just shows because of the same way they are. But I would say right now it's so hard, man. I feel for anyone who's trying to break into the scene right now. Put it this way: I'm 30 years old, and I'd have an easier chance at making a pro team right now than a 17-year-old that's 10 times better than me at the game. You know what I mean? Just because I know the right people, I have a name, I might be able to hold my own for a little bit. Who knows? But someone that's actually 10 times better than me won't have a chance, but I will. That's how sad it is right now.
Shit, that's funny. You see the what you were saying about not like being an asshole or whatever, or like not being toxic at all in Rank S, because then I think at the finals this weekend, was it Config who was just like dropping multiple F-bombs and stuff like that?
Yeah,
you
know? I love what Config was doing. I say not being an asshole because I know how sensitive the pro teams are here nowadays. They're a bunch of bitches, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Nice. Back in when I played, we used to talk shit to people's faces and almost fight outside when shit didn't go right. So I definitely don't like this whole era that we're in of people are too sensitive and everyone wants to be a social justice warrior whenever anything bad is said, and everyone freaks out and runs around and like go like, oh my god, this guy is such a dick, he's so cancerous, don't listen, look at him, he just said fuck you to the other team. Like, bro, they're competing against each other for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fuck the other team. Like, yeah, let them talk shit to each other. This is how it should be. Not like, oh, hey, we never respect these guys because they always, they talk shit to the other team. What do you want, people fucking kissing up there? Like, I don't get it.
Oh, shit.
What you don't see, like, right now in the finals, you think LeBron James is over there trying to make out with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry? Like, no, he's probably hates their guts.
Mo, I just imagine them in a huddle, all three of their heads just in there as a result.
Why did you do that?
I'm sorry. I had to share the image with everybody.
Thanks for that, bro.
All right.
God damn it.
When you said, I just want to like circle back super quickly. When you said they're a bunch of bitches, are we talking about like the pro scene in general or like one region?
I'm talking about some of the pro scene in general, but mostly, honestly, the viewership lately. It seems like a lot of the viewers, and this is mainly Reddit pieces of shit. And I'll tell you something right now. Reddit's filled with just trolls and pieces of shit, so it's probably not even real. But the people on Reddit that make like posts about someone being an asshole because he's like, I don't like, look at this guy doing this. It's like, and everyone upvoting it like, yeah, people should know about this because it's very wrong of someone to do this. And like, they're acting like this person committed murder. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking game. Like, at the end of the day, like, people are taking shit way too personal, and they're just too many. I call them millennials, even though I'm technically a millennial.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My mindset is that more old school, I guess. Like, I believe in shit talk. I believe in competition. I believe in passion. I don't believe in, if you say something bad to someone in the heat of the moment, you're fucking toxic and you have this stamp on your head for life that you're just a bad person. You know what I mean? Which Reddit seems to do that to people.
Yeah, and it's especially tough sometimes when you have a player base who can be pretty young. Which I guess, like, there's two sides to that coin, right? There's the fact that they're young and they'll say crazy shit, and we all said some dumb shit when we were in high school or whatever. But then there's the other side where it's like, well, you don't want other young people hearing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I don't know where I land on.
It's like a weird balance.
It is a weird balance. Yeah. Like, you probably shouldn't go around like telling everybody on your team to kill themselves. Probably, right?
Probably.
But at the same time, like, shit, just relax. Everyone relax.
I mean, look at Simple, right? He had a very bad. For years, he's been just looked at as just a terrible, toxic person. But like, he's just someone who's passionate about the game. Like, it's so funny that people go through all that, right? And then it was even funnier when the whole bullying thing happened with Freakazoid and Simple, because I think that was so stupid and unnecessary for Freakazoid to go to counseling or whatever they were trying to do. Like, are you kidding? Like, they're just fucking they're young guys talking shit to each other on a server, on a voice like, go anywhere and see what happens in people's private mumbles and team speaks and Skypes. There's fucked up shit being talked about amongst each other.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Like, these are just people talking shit. The fact that someone is streaming it and now a bunch of little kids go like, oh my god, that's so offensive. Like, I hate the word offensive nowadays because it seems like everything's offensive to people.
Yeah, and to that token too, like, you have a pretty good relationship with the players in NA, and when you're streaming and when you're like interacting with the players and having like giving them shit or just kind of having like an inside joke, like the moment that I'm kind of thinking about is that when you're talking to Automatic and kind of giving him shit, but then out of context, people are like, this guy's bullying Automatic. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, what the hell? Like,
with the Automatic thing, like, there's two things. Like, I even went out there and said I admitted that I was wrong on something. So that one occasion I did say stuff that was about his parents, and I regret that, and I apologize to him personally and publicly for that. The other part of it is how people would only show parts of me talking shit to him, but not anything that led up to me having my meltdown. because that I felt like that wasn't fair to me, but it doesn't matter because people will never see that. Like the average Reddit user or just viewer will just see that and just see that part and then instantly make a comment and have something in his head about me. And that's it. And then you'll see that people that will go, well, this is out of context. This is really what happened. Regardless of what happened, I ended it in a bad way because I am a lot older than Automatic, and I shouldn't have kind of let myself go like that. Like I kind of got too frustrated within the moment that I blew up. And, you know, it's one of the rare reasons where I actually do blow up that not controlled. You know what I mean? Because, I'll have rages, but I'm not like that. It really mad at someone.
Yeah.
But that was one of the few moments where I really was mad at someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you on that. We all sometimes get baited into stepping over the line a little bit.
Well, shit happens.
Shit happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been in this game long enough to know that, you know, you're gonna get trolled and baited into something, and you're gonna fucking mess up. You know what I mean? It's about how, and me speaking, I've made the most mistakes, I think, out of anyone out of any streamer at least, and somehow I'm still here. So I know the power of what it can do to you.
Exactly. Mo, we are running out of time here on the Score Esports podcast. Just before we let you go, is there anything you want to say that we didn't touch on, or any shout outs you want to give, anything like that?
No, I just want to say shout out to all the viewers. I took a month off because I just had my newborn, and I came back yesterday. So I'm just really thankful that everyone that's been supporting and back. You know, we're trying to get the stream grind going again, and it's hard, but I'm here. You know.
Congratulations on that. That's really awesome, by the way.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, with that, we're gonna let you go. I know you got streams to do and probably babies to take care of. So.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for having me.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
My goodness.
Man. Yet another conversation that I just didn't want to end.
I didn't want to end it either, and it really began to pick up steam.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Like it didn't. Yeah. The conversation just got better, you know, as we went on.
Well, we'll have him back again.
Like I hope we can have him back again. Yeah, that would be awesome.
There's a Mo Baby Twitch emote, guys. Check out the Twitch. My goodness, that is awesome.
Shout outs to whoever made that.
Shout outs to Mo Baby emote.
Yeah, we gotta get that spammed. Mo Baby.
Yeah.
Or is that like a subscriber
if
thing?
If we got Mo Baby in the chat, give me some Mo Baby in the chat, I guess. That's awesome.
All right, guys. I think that about does it for the Score Esports podcast on this particular day.
There we go. There's the Mo Baby.
There it is.
Two more.
Don't forget, guys, we do this every week. We actually do it twice a week. Last week we did it 4 times.
Yeah.
Somehow. Emergency podcast. But generally speaking, you can tune in on Mondays and Tuesdays. We got the Score Esports podcast, which is this. We also got The Nexus, which is our League of Legends specific podcast that's running tomorrow for Josh.
We've got Smithy tomorrow on the League of Legends podcast.
You didn't give me your guest last time,
for
so
that.
I was.
I think it's confirmed. If it's not confirmed, you can come at me tomorrow during the cast.
That's pretty hype. All right, cool. We'll tune in for that. For Josh and Dennis, I am Colin, saying until next time, GG.
Shout out to chat.
To Dennis.
Yo, I love how the chat's like, who's talking? A ghost?
I am a ghost.
We have one webcam, guys. Someone stole our second webcam for like another filming project, and literally that's it. Like, look at this. You can't even see who I am. Well, this mic covers me perfectly.
I have the end plate up.
Pardon me?
They can't see your face.
Oh, they can't?
The end plate is up.
I'm sorry.
Nobody can see you right now.
Okay, nobody. We're all ghosts.
Cyborg.
We're actually all ghosts.
I'm a spooky ghost.